Shadows of the Empire is probably the most extensive Star Wars multimedia project for one story outside of episodes 1 through 6. It officially consists of one video game, 9 comic issues, a novel, a junior novel, 2 RPG source books chock full of exclusive short stories and adventures, and a full toy line. In this video, I'm going to break down all of the official media, different editions and versions, as well as how the Shadows of the Empire story ties into 4 other video games and 37 additional comic book issues and a lot more short stories. To start with the basics, Shadows of the Empire was pitched as everything but a movie. So similarly to what Lucasfilm had done with the original trilogy already, they made all of the tie-in media you would normally get in a movie. The core of the story is in the Shadows of the Empire novel. 90% of all of the scenes and sequences can be found in the novel, and it is the most complete version of the story. The Shadows of the Empire novel has 5 main editions. There's the Bantam hardcover, the Science Fiction Book Club hardcover, the Bantam mass market paperback, the Del Rey mass market paperback, and the post-2014 mass market paperback from Del Rey with the Legends banner. As of yet, the only significant edition it has yet to be printed in is the Essential Legends Collection edition. The novel also saw a junior novel edition from Scholastic less than half the length of the regular edition. It would come as no surprise that Giswor's attempt at seducing Leia and exposing himself is absent from this version. Shadows of the Empire also has a 6-issue comic book. All of the sequences in issue 1 take place before chapter 1 of the novel, but issues 2 through 6 summarize the main events of the novel and include 2 new storylines exclusive to the comic book version. One of these stories follows Boba Fett as he's challenged by other bounty hunters trying to take Solo from him and deliver them to Jabba themselves. The other storyline features Darth Vader's Agent Jix, who infiltrates one of Jabba's swoop gangs and is tasked with keeping Luke Skywalker alive and to capture him if possible. Both of these storylines are exclusive to the comic, and neither Boba Fett nor Jix appear in the novel. Shadows of the Empire also has 3 unique comics, the Galoob and Ertl toy comics, and the Battle of the Bounty Hunters pop-up comic. The Galoob toy comic takes place between the end of Empire Strikes Back and ends just before the Battle of Gaul, and the Ertl toy comic takes place from the Battle of Gaul through Luke and Dash leaving for Bathawui after the swoop-bike attack. Both of these comics more or less retell the events from the novel and main Shadows of the Empire comic, but both have a few panels with scenes, artwork, and dialogue exclusive to these comics. Additionally, the Battle of the Bounty Hunters pop-up comic parallels the last 8 pages of issue 1 of the main comic and retells with new artwork the battle between Boba Fett and IG-88 above Tatooine. The pop-up comic also ends with exclusive scenes showing how Boba Fett entered Jabba's palace after tricking the other bounty hunters despite being crossed by Bib Fortuna. These comics can be found in a variety of editions. Issues 1 through 6 of the main Shadows of the Empire comic can be found as single issues, and the Shadows of the Empire comic book trade paperback, which I have here, the Dark Horse Shadows of the Empire Omnibus, and Marvel's Legends Epic Collection, The Rebellion Volume 6. Additionally, select pages from issues 1 and 2 were reprinted in the Kenner Shadows of the Empire Specials 1 and 2, which were included in toy packs such as this one. Kenner Special number 1 takes pages from issues 1 and 2 featuring Vader and Gisor, and Kenner Special 2 takes pages from issues 1 and 2 featuring Boba Fett. The Kenner Specials do not contain any new panels. The only thing unique about the Kenner Specials is the cover artwork and the order of the pages. So if you do want to get these and keep the value of the toys in the box, you don't need to open the box to read the comic, since every single panel is a reprint of the main Shadows of the Empire comic book. The Galoob comic was included in the Shadows of the Empire Micro Machines toys, and the Ertl comic was included with the AMT Ertl Shadows of the Empire model kits. Both comics were reprinted in the Dark Horse Star Wars Wild Space Omnibus Volume 1, which I have here, and they can both be found alongside the main comic in the Marvel Legends Epic Collection The Rebellion Volume 6. However, the Battle of the Bounty Hunters can only be found physically in its original printing and does not appear in any trade paperbacks or omnibuses. The Shadows of the Empire video game is all from the point of view of one of the Shadows of the Empire's main heroes, Dash Rendar. The first 3 levels retell the Battle of Hoth through Dash's eyes. The 4th and 5th levels are the only sequences solely exclusive to Shadows of the Empire, depicting Dash Rendar battling IG-8 and learning where Boba Fett is, and going to Gaul and confronting Boba Fett before the main heroes arrive. The rest of the game extends and expands on the events from the novel and comic from Dash's perspective, such as the Swoop Gang ambush, the Saprosa attack, as well as the assault on Giswor's palace and Skyhook. The game has 2 versions, the Nintendo 64 version and the PC version. The gameplay and levels are the exact same between both versions, but the main difference between them is that the PC version has full 3D cutscenes and audio, whereas the Nintendo 64 version only has 2D cutscenes with no audio, only text on screen. The Nintendo 64 version actually has a few extra exclusive cutscenes that did not end up in the PC version, including one scene of Dash and Han Solo on Hoth that does not exist anywhere outside of the Nintendo 64 version of Shadows of the Empire. The PC version is still available on PC gaming platforms such as Steam, whereas the Nintendo 64 version has not been ported to any consoles, Nintendo or otherwise. The Nintendo 64 game cartridge has seen 3 different releases: the original Nintendo 64 cartridge in its signature box, and then 2 editions from limited run games released in 2019. First is the Classic Edition, which is packaged in a 90s style Kenner action figure pack, and then the premium version, which comes in a sweet box and has all kinds of other cool collectible goodies. Both include a playable Nintendo 64 game cartridge. The game also has a variety of game guides like this premium game guide here. While the game, book, and comics are the only 3 mediums that tell the comprehensive story of Shadows of the Empire, the multimedia project doesn't end there. There's also a full soundtrack with 10 original compositions by composer Joel McNeely, totaling 51 minutes of original Star Wars compositions, which you can listen to right here. And the West End Games Shadows of the Empire sourcebook contains 29 micro short stories that add entirely new scenes and sequences and expand upon pre-existing scenes from Shadows of the Empire. The length of each short story ranges from a full page to only a few paragraphs. The sourcebook also provides a lot of important details and context, such as biographical data on characters, organizations, planets, and more. West End Games also made a whole other full-length sourcebook called the Shadows of the Empire Planets Guide, which is full of new lore, history, micro short stories, and game scenarios that take place on all of the main planets featured in Shadows of the Empire. Additionally, in the top zone, Star Wars Galaxy Magazine Issue 7, the short adventure Assignment Decoy follows a group of smugglers and rebels as they unknowingly aid Boba Fett in buying time on Gaul before his escape, and they rescue an information broker being hunted by a Black Sun Vigo in this Shadows of the Empire themed issue. Physical copies of all of these are hard to track down, but they can be found digitally here on StarWarsTimeline.net. The Shadows of the Empire toys are also a rich pool of awesomeness. Starting off with a personal favorite of mine is the Shadows of the Empire Topps Trading Cards. This set of 100 cards, illustrated by Greg and Tim Hildebrand, cover nearly the entire story of Shadows of the Empire with scene and sequence summaries on the backs. As a preview of the voices for my Shadows of the Empire fan film, I currently have completed 8 videos featuring 60 out of the 100 cards, read in the voices of the characters from the story. Additional toys include the 3 main toy lines such as the Kenner action figures, the Galoob micro machines, and the AMT Ertl model kits. The Shadows of the Empire toy line includes the aforementioned Galoob micro machine sets 1, 2, and 3, the AMT Ertl model kits for Gizor, Palpatine, and the Virago, and the Kenner toy line, which had the 2 comic packs containing Boba Fett, IG-88, Darth Vader, and Prince Gizor. Standalone Kenner figures included Dash Rendar, Boushh Leia, Chewie in his Snuva disguise, a standalone Prince Gizor, and Luke in the uniform of the Coruscant Guard. Interestingly enough, the figure of Luke in his Coruscant Guard outfit was planned to be featured in the comic and can be seen as a 3D model in a trailer of the game, but is only officially depicted as the toy and artwork from the source books. The Kenner line also included a swoop bike, Slave One, and Dash Rendar ship the Outrider. Later on, the comic pack Shadows of the Empire toy contained new Gizor and Leia figures and came with Shadows of the Empire issue 5. As a bonus item, this limited edition Shadows of the Empire statuette was also released. That covers everything with the official Shadows of the Empire logo on it, but the multimedia project does not end there. Shadows of the Empire covers the entire period between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and there are several other games, comics, short stories, and more that overlap and reference Shadows of the Empire. Starting off with comics, there are 37 issues in the 1977 Marvel Comics that take place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Issues 45 to 72 and Star Wars Annual Issue 2 take place in between the Shadows of the Empire comic Issue 1 and Chapter 1 of the novel. These issues show our hero searching relentlessly for Boba Fett, while unknown to them he's hiding out on Gaul. And issues number 73 to 80 and Star Wars Annual Issue number 3 take place after the final chapter in Shadows of the Empire all the way up until Return of the Jedi. These issues mainly focus on how the Rebellion reacquired the Death Star plans from the Bothans through the rebel named Tave Annis. Though the writers of the original Marvel Comics could hardly predict how their comics would play a role in Shadows of the Empire, they nonetheless supplement the story in a great way. Additionally, 4 other video games overlap with the third quarter of Shadows of the Empire. X-Wing Alliance, more than any others, sees the player participate in the attack on the Saprosa, Vader's assault on the Bajix shipyards, and the Battle of Cothlas. The Battle of Cothlas actually first appeared in 1995 in Star Wars TIE Fighter Collector's CD Edition. The battle also appeared in the 2001 video game Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. The gameplay from this level in Rogue Leader also found its way into Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike as a co-op mission essentially identical to its predecessor. There are also a lot of short stories that tie in with Shadows of the Empire. Most notably are the short stories in Tales of the Bounty Hunters and Tales from Jabba's Palace. In the Tales of the Bounty Hunter short story, Therefore I Am, we follow IG-88 in his four mechanical bodies A, B, C, and D. Near the end of the story, IG-88C and D go to Tatooine to try to intercept Fett and claim the reward on Han Solo for himself. This sequence was previously depicted in the comics, and as previously mentioned, this does not go well for IG-88. The same event is also detailed in the first part of the short story A Barv Like That, printed in Tales from Jabba's Palace, which follows the scene from Boba Fett's perspective. This same sequence has an additional short story depicting this event printed in the Weston Games Return of the Jedi sourcebook titled Dark Voyage to Tatooine, which takes place in the form of a narrative report made by Rebellion and New Republic historian Boran Nall, after deciphering Boba Fett's log entries from Slave 1. The Weston Games game supplement, Secrets of the Sizer Run, focus on Black Sun leading up to Shadows of the Empire, focusing on the Vigo Sprax and his corner of Black Sun, with Xizor and Guri playing major roles as well. This supplement contains many adventure scenarios and micro short stories that tie into Shadows of the Empire. The short story of Possible Futures from Tales of the Bounty Hunters gives very important context to what Zuckuss and Forlom do in Shadows of the Empire. Spoiler alert for the next 10 seconds. They were actually working for the Rebellion to retrieve Han Solo during Shadows of the Empire. Spoilers end. The short story Clone B2332-54 from the Last Command sourcebook follows Vader retrieving Luke's hand and lightsaber on Bespin. This scene was later reprinted in the Thrawn Trilogy sourcebook. And following that short story, The Emperor's Trophy, printed in Star Wars Galaxy Magazine number 11, sees Vader deliver Luke's hand and old lightsaber to the Emperor at Mount Tantus on Wayland. These of course are big Easter eggs to the Thrawn Trilogy as, spoiler alert, Jorah C'baoth uses the hand to clone Luke, and this clone sported this lightsaber. After this clone was defeated by Mara Jade, she was then given this legendary lightsaber. Shadows of the Empire also saw a sequel called Shadows of the Empire Evolution. This short comic run mainly focuses on Xizor's right hand Guri as she tries to navigate what life is like as a human replica droid without a master. She catches up with our main heroes, and Black Sun rears his ugly head once more. I actually made an opening crawl for this comic if you're interested in checking that out here. There are a few other comics and short stories and various source books and collections set in this period, but the rest have little to no tie-in to any of the characters' worlds and events within Shadows of the Empire. That covers everything officially and unofficially a part of the Shadows of the Empire multimedia project. You can check out my video on Shadows of the Empire references in Star Wars episodes 1 through 6 here. Additionally, Star Wars Fan Animations is adapting this massive story into an animated fan film. You can watch the trailer here and the latest project update video here. And if you want to see this project continue, consider supporting the channel by becoming a member on Patreon or buying me a Blue Milk Coffee on Ko-Fi. You can also find Shadows of the Empire themed merch at our merch store. Links for all of these will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.